Okay, so we must be on number Kuf Mem on page Kuf Lamed Bet. Reading across the top, it says, "V'shachris tekabin la'os vav." Now we've gotten to two letters, the Shin and the Kuf. Now we're going to the other letters in the name Shakotzit. Keneged Yismach Moshe. Now he says this corresponds to the concept of the Vav Yismach Moshe Shuhu Os Vav. Now that's a question as to what he means to say that Moshe represents the the Vav, but you also have this word Yismach Moshe. But most of the Kavanot Os Tzadi, and then in Mosef moving along, you get to the Os Tzadi. Why? Shuhu Keneged HaYisod. Tzadik Yisod Olam. Ki Os Tzadi Romez al Yisod Shuha HaTzadik. Shabot Tfilas Mosef, that there you have the Tfilas Mosef. So what do you have here? You have two different things mentioned. One is the Vav. The Vav has to do with the Yismach Moshe. So exactly how that works, I don't know. Let's go over to Kuf Mem and see how we pick it up. Tfilas Shabbos, the Shabbos, Yesh the Kavan Ba'os Vav Mishem Shkotzis Shahu. He says is what? Shahu, just leave the Shahu out there. Hasidurim lo hiviyazos. So apparently, if you looked in the Rishash Siddur, you won't find this particular Kavanot. He said, "But the Tfilas Musaf the Shabbos yesh the Kavan ba'od Sadi b'shum mishem shkotzitz." That name. So he says Shahu keneged hayisod. Now he skipped the one about the Vav, which was my question about what he had to do with Moshe. I guess he meant that Moshe was the Vav, but he doesn't. The Tiv doesn't go into it, which is Kuf Mem Aleph Keneged Yismach Moshe. Okay, so I don't see anything there. Shahad Tzadik B'Rambas the Spheres Yisod. So, but we went over to the Tzadik. So he said Tzadik Yisod Oilam Kamoshe and Tzadik Yisod Oilam is the foundation of the world. Was Remesh She'os Tzadik. He b'spheres Yisod is in the spheres of Yisod. Shahare od tzadi b'meluo hu tzadi. He tzadi. So the letter itself, as you fill it out, it comes to the word tzadik. The vazos he romezes the spheres of Yisod, and in this way it's a remez to Yisod. With the tefillas Mosef, Mosef he says is the concept of tzadik. So we have to keep this in mind. Shuhu Yisod is the concept of Yisod. So we move from the Vav to the Vav to the Tzadi, and therefore we're moving down the middle line. So therefore that's what we have to have in mind at that point. Number Kuf Mem Zayin on the top. You said, then you move to Mincha. Mincha, now you're going to the letter, the next letter, which is in this line, is the letter Yud. It comes from the word Shakotzit. That's the next letter in line, I'm sorry. V'ani tefilasi l'cha Hashem. So he quotes this phrase, that my prayer is for you, Hashem. Milas tefilasi, let's take to the word Milas tefilasi. He says, Rotzon Aloma Tefillas Yud. It's the tefillah that goes with the letter Yud. Add the letter Yud on top of it. What's Yud? Abira Inyanu, so he explains. Because now what happens, this is a Zer Anpin, moves up to the level of the Dikna of Eric Anpin. Like we understand this, we've heard this previously. So that is to say like this. When Zah is in a lower position, Hoya Yored as Seir shall Resha de Eric Anpin, the Nimshach Rosh there Anpin Lash Bialo. So apparently this is talking about other times other than Mincha Shabbos. That's when the hairs of Eric Anpin, which are Yud Kevavkes, excuse me, there's the Milu, he's going to say that. Time Nimim. So when we talk about the hair, we're talking about all different kinds of strands inside of the hairs. But they come into the gematria of 410. Communion shtei osius yis, that we would hear hashkutz it. I guess it's it. Shashkutz. So that represents the last two letters that you get this out of Mencha. Let's look over here in the Tiv, in Kuf Mem Zayin. He says, "Tefillas Mincha the Shabbos yesh the kaven ba'os Yud min shem shkotzit." V'yesh the kaven. Okay, back again. So let's start that again. Number Kuf Mem Ches V'yesh the Kavanot Kavanot Zu Be'esha Omrim as a pasuk. Now this particular pasuk, I know in the Rosh Siddur is repeated, and he says that this could be understood from that is what's going on at Mincha from this phrase V'ani Tefi loss, and then it has the e at the end. The Chach Hashem Eis Ratzon. It's a time of acceptance. So then the kavana here that you should have here, and I'm not looking at the Rosh Siddur at the moment. He says the osios tefilas yud. Roma's the yud the shem Shakotzit. So in one way, it's referencing the yud that's in the name Shakotzit. So he says, if name ma meguvana betfilas mincha shel Shabbos ba'oz yud d'shem Shakotzit. Shakotzit, it should be Shakotzit, I guess. Then he goes on the next page. He said, "V'ku mishum shebetfilas mincha shel Shabbos yesh l'rabeliyah l'zer anpin." There's an aliyah for zer anpin. Who ola b'dikna de Erik Anpin and rises all the way up to the level of the dikna of Erik Anpin. Because Zah receives Shefer from Erik Anpin, because when Zer Anpin is his normal position, which is at the Tibor of Erik Anpin, Yored the Shefer, the Erik Sa'ara's Resha, the Erik Anpin, the Shefer, that is that how to build up Zer Anpin at that point is from the hairs, which we said are tie. And they hang down until they reach to the head of Zer Anpin. Now, I was speaking about that yesterday, how they bang into the back of the head, and a lot of things are produced in Zer Anpin as a result of that. But that's during the other times that we daven, during the weekdays. But this is only due during weekdays. Shachazah oilech bedikted the rich, where the zah actually makes an aliyah to the beard of a rich. The makab shefer machsa'aros the erek of bekir of makom mamish. Now, looking at his words here, I thought he was going to say that he gets the shefer from the beard, but he doesn't say that. He says a makab shefer machsa'aros from the hairs of Zer Anpin. But now it's not such a tremendous distance from the back of the head of Erik Anpin down to the head of the back of the head of Zer Anpin. It's not such a tremendous difference because you're there. And that's the reason why we have that kavana. Because the shefa that Zer Anpin gets from the hairs shel Erik Anpin, Haim Tai Sa'aros, they are 410 Sa'aros, number Kuf Nun Dalud. Tai Nimin Derek Darich, so that is the 410 Nimim that we're dealing with the Rik Shemechem Mekabel Lazah, Zev Ramas B'Shnei Osius Tai Mishem Shakotzit. So we got to that. Now, we have a little bit more time. Let's just do the next one. Let's see how far we could get. Ukuvar Bi'arna Be'idris Neso, Ki Haim Tai Nimim. So let me get back to this again. He says again, Ukuvar Bi'arna Be'idris Neso, Ki Haim Tai Nimim Kamis Bar Kadosh. So that the number of bundles of hairs are 410. Vasod Tai Almim, and also, now this I forgot, I'm not sure if I really understood all of this part. So you have Tai Nimim, and the Vasod Tai Almim, and then you have 410 different. Almim usually means hiddennesses, but Tai Iver Kanizkar. So it would be 410 different ways on which the ore of the ore choser that we've been talking about, actually is it in the other? It is in the other. The light that comes out through the hairs is almim, is hidden inside of the hairs. V'tai iver hanizkar, and then there's 410 different passageways. I think that's what it means, but I don't remember, or I didn't learn it well. So therefore, this aspect. He sewed Shem Kuvaya the Ab de Milu Yudin. So it's the same. It corresponds to that Havaya of 72 letter of Gematria 72, which is the Milu of Yudin. Yesh Eser Osias B'Malua. So that refers to the 10 letters that are actually represented that represent the hair follicles and what's inside of them coming down. This is the meaning of I am, of I, tefilasi, my prayer, tefilas yud, that I, the tefillas of the yud, ki ata oila, because now it goes up ad eser osios ahem, so that is that Zer Anpin goes up to those 10 letters. So originally there was a tremendous distance between the origin of the light that's inside of the hairs and actually where it strikes Zer Anpin under the weekdays. Through those hairs, and now it's going to that place. Now the shefa is tremendous. Because the ha'ara, now he says what? The sa'aros that channel this light, which has that many letters. So they come for the chavaya that has 10 letters. The milu yudin kenizkar. And that's the reason why it says, for you, Hashem, it's a time of acceptance. Ki al yedei aliyah Zer Anpin, because as Zer Anpin goes up to the dikna of Erik Anpin, yesh bo koach lekabel shefach min mitzvah delay. It's possible for Zer Anpin to receive shefach from his mitzvah. Hi, you have any more time? 1 minute. Okay, so let's go back to where I was because I kept reading on. We're on number Kuf Kaf Samach Gimel. He says, "Ma shechoya b'techida b'kabel l'shefach zera b'richel godol derek ozim azaros." He says, "Hine hu ata oila ad sham," but now it's there at the place where the hairs start. Mekabel are right below them, and b'kabel l'shefach b'kira godol. Because it's now coming from the chavaya, which is the milui of Yudin, the milui Yudin. Now, what's that mean? For you, Hashem, to you, Hashem, is a time, or with you, it's time of acceptance. By doing that, it's possible to get shefa from that bright, shining forehead of Erik Anpin, Hanikra Metzach Amratzon, which is called the Metzach of acceptance. Okay, that's this year today.